I would say 70% of the stuff that I say is true. And the other 30%, obviously, you have to give some room for also make-believe and also some putting in your dreams and aspirations. So when I say I'm balling, I mean it more to say that I'm manifesting it because I want to ball, but not to ball to show off, but just to be happy about who I am or where I am. So you have to mix it up as far as possible.
Okay. Otuli Penny Bella man, Otuli Penny man, Otuli worldwide. Otuli Penny Bella man, Otuli Penny man, Otuli international. Yeah, let me make this clear. I never ran away, only ran towards challenges and change, chasing down awards. Opened up a CC, took my savings to the.
I go by the name of Lord Stef. I am a Namibian born multidisciplinary artist. I was born in the small coastal town of Ludritz in Namibia, so that's where I'm from.
Okay, nice. Namibia. And how did you start making music?
How I started music, it's quite weird because I grew up in a very not musical family, but my parents had a lot of music at home, vinyls, a lot of music always. So there was always a chance to listen to a record and listen to some very good artists. I was also lucky enough that my older sister, she was also into hip-hop and R&B, and this was the 90s, so perfect time. So she made me listen to a lot of these good rappers, Tupac, B.I.G., Nas, all these guys. So, and I just really liked it, but I was never really like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper. And then at a certain point, I thought to myself, but I'm actually good at poetry, so why don't I use the poetry that I'm good at and put it on a song, It's quite simple. But it was not simple because it took some time it's still taking some time to perfect the art, because with art it's always evolving, you can always make it better, as we can see how hip-hop has moved from where it was, from like boom bap to now it's trap and drill, there's an evolution in art. So, but nonetheless, not to divert from the topic, I started doing music, I think in 2009, 2009, 2008 circa, and then with some school friends, we used to go to my friend's house, play some beats, make, rap these corny bubblegum raps. And then some of the guys, they left, they stopped doing music, but I always felt like, oh, it's working. I played it to some of my friends and then they liked it, so I just kept on going, and now here I am still making music 10 years later, 12 years later. So.
Wow, okay. And was it in Namibia?
I started in Namibia, exactly. I started in Namibia. I was fortunate enough to also live in Angola, and there I was also I was still young, but I had friends that we all had a liking to hip hop, so we used to do some stuff together, but it was never nothing serious. Nothing was ever recorded. It was more just like for fun. You write and you take it to school and you see who has the best lyrics and stuff like that. And then when I went back to Namibia, it was now more of trying to boost the hip-hop industry. But it also, I can't say that it went as I wanted it to, because there's also certain structures, certain barriers that you want to break, which is quite difficult. So.
Okay.
You rap in English and in your mother tongue.
Exactly.
I know rappers who do that too, but I find your way a bit different. I feel like you take care to make the two languages work well together. Is it part of your work process? It's like you don't jump from one language to another. You also want the languages to match beautifully and poetically.
Cause life is not a race, but if it is, I've won. Winning in my league, driving in my bun. Ek kon by my 12 jitas en al my jitas mal. En een van hulle Judas, aye, maar ek check om so what y'all niggas about to do. Do it quickly, cause I see y'all from a mile away. I keep y'all at arm's length. Life is such a trip, don't take it for the high, but rather for the journey, my homies. I hope you hear me.
Do you do it intentionally?
I mean, I can't really say that I do it intentionally. It's more poetic. It's also very much to put emphasis on the scenario or the picture I'm trying to paint with my words. So I try to make sure that when it does switch from language to language, that the people in English will appreciate the switch. And the people in my mother tongue, in Oshiwambo, they will understand, but obviously most of them also speak English, so they will get the best of both worlds, you know, and they'll be like, ooh, this is hard, or whatever the case. But it is quite difficult also because there's a fine line between your language and another language to mix them, I think. And not everybody does that, because sometimes you also throw people off. You can have them vibing and then they're like, oh, but now you switch the language, what is he saying, what. But that's also good, because you want them to ask you or to go and look up your lyrics or whatever the case might be.
Okay. Cool. You also categorize your music as Township Funk.
Township Funk.
What is Township Funk?
Well, I look at it as, when I was growing up, I was also influenced a lot by Kwaito, which is a genre in Sadek that most people are aware of. It's very street. It's very, very orientated with like the old school way of doing like pansula and stuff like that, you know. So, and then that is now the township part. The funk is where I add my own elements to it. So it's basically like you have a street beat, but with like some crazy hip hop strings or a crazy hip hop piano, just to create something. You fuse. Basically, it's a fusion of two genres. But obviously, I could also say easily that it could also fit with Afrobeat. But Afrobeat is obviously, it's renowned for being from like the West Africa side. And yeah, I mean, I've not heard anybody call it Township Funk. So I would say that I should be credited with, if ever, with the coining the phrase Township Funk, which is the genre that I fall under.
Okay, nice. And what is your song Otuli Penny about?
So Otuli Penny, the funny thing is I wrote those lyrics when I had moved to Germany, you know, and because I was always looking out. I was traveling around, going to different cities here in Germany, and then I thought about the transition from back home when I also used to travel, you know, going to the coast or going to the north, to the rural areas. And now I'm in a whole different country and I'm doing the same thing. And I'm asking myself, where am I, you know? So Otuli Penny means where are we, you know?
Otuli Penny Bella man, Otuli Penny man, Otuli worldwide. Otuli Penny Bella man, Otuli Penny man, Otuli international. Yeah, let me make this clear, I never ran away, only ran towards challenges and change, chasing down awards, opened up a CC, took my savings to the bureau, told them exchange. Now my brothers and I doing big things. Otsemba, Otsembe, Mokona, Hosava, Natango, Mokolna, Twali Mokurisha.
So it's a nice element that I've also tried to incorporate and explain to my friends that wherever you go, obviously gonna ask yourself where you are, or are you happy? Are you having a good time? But happiness is not a place. It's more your environment and how you feel, you know. Because you can go you can go to the United States, but you still won't be happy, you know. So it's just about being in your element and in your zen and being happy with your surroundings, no matter where you go.
And do you care about message in your music? Is it important for you to put a message in your music?
I would say I write my songs mostly off of concepts. It has to have a concept. I like when the song has a concept because then I've already narrowed it down, you know. I don't have to, because when I just put on a beat and I just start writing, freestyling, usually you'll find me talking about politics, then you'll find me talking about soccer, You'll find me talking about clothes, but it's never like straight to say that, okay, we know he's talking about this. So I usually also make my songs thinking about the video, the concept of how the video is going to come out, you know, what message I'm trying to send to people, and what am I trying to teach the audience about, you know. So it's never a clear thing, but it's more to say, like, let's cut out all the unnecessary things. Let's stick to a message and stick to a concept, and that's how you'll get the people's also their attention. And then even if you want to go further and let's say do a campaign for AIDS, for example, I cannot be talking about cars and politics and stuff like that. Okay, maybe politics, but you want to stick more to the point, so that even if you have to take your song and you take it for a campaign, that the message is in line with what the campaign is there for. So it's also a good way of marketing yourself and your music by having actually strict concepts and conceptualizing them like that.
Ah, okay, cool. Do you remember your first rap song?
I do. The first song, I can't say I do. I cannot say I do remember. I would probably have to hear it. But I remember a few ones after the first one that I can now say as probably the first, because I don't remember the first one. They were very, very bad. I must say myself, they were very bad songs. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's also that first step that you take, you know. And I know that I was very happy about those songs at the time, even if they were bad, coming to think of it now. But obviously when you first start, you're like a baby, you know. Babies, when they are young, they feel like they can do everything. But as they grow older and people put on their negative thoughts on them, that's where the children started thinking, oh, okay, no, this is not my line of work, or let me stick to this. But yeah, it's crazy, I must say.
Okay, nice. And what was it about?
What was it about? I think it was probably about something like the generic stuff, you know, being the best, having money even if though I was broke, you know. I still am, not broke, but I'm still struggling to actually make ends meet just like that. So it was basically just talking about being the best, probably trying to get a girl and flossing, you know, stuff like that. Because I know that when I was younger, a lot of me and my friends used to always try to emulate the guys that you see on TV and the famous rappers. So if whoever says, yeah, I'm getting money now, you also want to be like him, like, oh, look what he said and stuff like that. So I'm sure it was just something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And who is the woman you were talking about in your song Woman Like You?
That would have to be my girlfriend, my wife. My wife, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. But obviously, to be honest, it's not. I usually write my music with a concept, like I said, so it already comes from a background of people can also relate to it, you know. So that was the inspiration. I used her as the muse to also be able to make other people relate, you know, to what I'm saying, you know, because I want everybody to feel like, yo, the women around you, you should appreciate them, because without them, you know, it's quite difficult for men, because men depend on women so much and we don't even realize it. We don't even realize it. It's crazy.
We've been together for 5 years, shit mad tears. Had some trouble in the past, but that's past now. You were the only one when I had no one else. When I was broke, drugged up, and clearly needing help, you came to save me, darling, like a superwoman. Push me through my goals. Not everybody knows how the story goes. You helped me pay my debts, so now I pay my dues. We stood the test of time and infidelity. You left your man for me, I left my house for you. You were my saving grace, for that I'm truly blessed. Who would have thought the Casanova would calm down. Clearly not me. Listen my charm, cause my smile is too contagious. Now it's outrageous how the saying is true. Behind every man should be a woman like you. Yeah, a woman like you, shorty. A woman like you.
But the text is a little deeper than that, I think.
Yes. You know, with myself, I try my utmost best to open up as much as I can to my audience, you know. I would say 70% of the stuff that I say is true. And the other 30%, obviously, you have to give some room for also make-believe and also some putting in your dreams and aspirations. So when I say I'm balling, I mean it more to say that I'm manifesting it because I want to ball, but not to ball to show off, but just to be happy about who I am or where I am. So you have to mix it up as far as possible. Mm-hmm.
And what is your dream career? Your dream career as a rapper?
Well, basically, I really feel like it's about each one teach one. So I would like to be at a place where I can put other rappers, especially from the African diaspora, on a level, not put them on, but also influence them to say, hey, that guy did it, so can we, you know. I want people to understand that your dreams are valid. You're not restricted, you know. If you believe in it, if you can manifest it, you know, if you can put the work in, the hours, you can achieve your goals. You can do whatever you want to do, basically. The same way I am doing it right now by making music and sending it all over the world, you know? Because I feel a lot of us artists, especially from where I come from, artists are so restricted by the environment that they're in and the lack of opportunities that they give up, you know? I know a few very good musicians that I feel like their careers ended before they even took off, which is very sad, you know? But there's also at the same time nobody to push them, and I want to be that person to be able to say, hey guys, I'm at this level right now. I'm performing at this festival, or I'm having my own show. I want artists from Namibia to come and perform alongside me, you know? And I don't even want to headline it. I want them to headline it so that they can also feel like, yo, what all the hard work that I've put in, someone is actually recognizing it and being able to. Because if you look at it very, very nicely, in Africa, the big hip-hop markets are the West, obviously, like Nigeria, Ghana, and then you have now South Africa. It's also a very big hip-hop market. But for me, coming from Namibia, the hip-hop market is quite right. It's still in its infancy. I can't say it's down to our population because I would rather say it's down to a lack of opportunities. And these opportunities are because of structural mishaps. And also the artists themselves are also to blame because they also make some really silly decisions, you know, things that you can dismay. But at the end of the day, it's all about how far do you want to go and what do you want to achieve? How bad do you want it? Would you rather go to the studio than go to the club, you know? Simple things, you know, but obviously these are also things that I myself had to learn at a very later stage when a lot of things did not go my way. But the good thing is that I never gave up, and I'm still not giving up. I'm not saying that I've made it or anything, but I am actually going. I can feel that I'm in the right direction to achieving the goal that I want to accomplish.
Okay.
It's good that you talk about that because I think it's one of the most discussed topics right now among diaspora artists. For example, there's a big festival in a few days in Berlin, and there are great artists coming from Africa to perform there. And some Berlin-based African artists complain of being ignored by the festival organizers. What do you think about it?
Wow, that is crazy, I would say, because it makes sense, but then at the same time, it's also part and parcel the constant struggle that we have with the music industry, you know, because certain things happen a certain way because they have to, and also because of how the industry is built, you know. But in my personal opinion, and I'm not saying this is how it should be, I would say that it's 50-50. It's good that we're bringing in artists, and I think you're referring to this Afrobeat Festival, are you? Yes. It would be nice to have artists then, even the artists themselves, these big artists that are coming to perform here, say that, okay, fine, if you want me to come and perform at this festival, I want to bring along one artist, an upcoming artist from Africa, and then I'm going to do, for example, a competition for the artists from the African diaspora in Germany or in Europe to send me their songs and what, and whichever song is good and you have at least 3 or 4 songs, you can come and join me for this festival, you know. That is what I'm talking about when I'm saying you can help other artists. But obviously these artists, I'm sure they also want to do that, but because of the way the structure of the music business is, it's trying to be as profitable as possible. And the way it's going to be profitable is when you have headlining acts, you know, the Wizkids, the Davidos, the Sarkodis, or whoever you might bring to the stage. Then you know you're going to fill the stadium up with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people, and you're going to make your money. But that is how the industry is built. So that's the aim of us as people and artists and creatives, to also probably suggest it or do it ourselves or create initiatives where we can do that. But also at the same time, I don't feel the artists should be sour. These artists that are in Berlin, they shouldn't really be sour. That should just fuel them to say, I need to work harder, because those guys also who are being booked, they're not getting that for free, you know. They've worked hard to be able to say that I'm going to perform in Berlin or in Germany for this amount of time, you know. So they've also built up their repertoire or their CVs, and they deserve it. So it's 50-50, you know. So it's just about us bridging the gap between the two masses of upcoming and established, and then the aim is obviously for the guys in the middle, you know, the ones who are mediating and the organizers and stuff like that. They have more of a say or a hand in that. But then at the same time, they have their artists' best interests at heart. It's also a topic that we can talk about the whole day, because there's so much. I'm sure I'm even leaving out some certain elements, but like I said, this is my own opinion. It's not actually. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I like what you say. It's very relevant and good for everyone. And talking about the music industry, are you in a label?
I'm not in a label. I'm actually independent. I'm an independent artist. I do, however, have a publishing deal with Pedal Records. They have my publishing, and I can say it's going quite good. Obviously, I'm also all new to this, so you're still, as an independent artist, you don't want to go in with both your feet, you know. You're always a bit careful and cautious, especially when you're also an upcoming artist, because your career, it can end like that. So you're always trying to be cautious. So, yeah.
Okay. But is it part of your plans to join a label in the future? Maybe because they have more resources?
That is a good question. You know, I would say yes, but it also depends on how we structure it contractually and what the agreement is. You know, because I know that most labels, they tend to think about themselves firstly. They think about how can the label benefit before the artist, you know. So it would be nice to work with a label that understands the vision of the artist and where the artist wants to go. Otherwise, I'll probably have to start my own label, you know. Who says I can't start my own label and do it the way I think it should be done? But obviously, with the way things are, you also need capital and resources and also the knowledge, because otherwise then you'll have to hire people. But with the knowledge, you can get it for basically being under a label or whatever.
Okay, now let's talk a bit about Leipzig. How is the rap scene in Leipzig?
Phew. I mean, I'm still relatively new in the city. I was fortunate enough to, as soon as I arrived, to make contact with a few musicians there, rappers, producers, and creatives. And I think it's booming. You know, it's going places. But obviously, because of also the pandemic, and it's also slowed down a lot of events and stuff. But I can say that there's a few initiatives. There's some open air, open mic sessions, some concerts and stuff like that, which is really good. But I can't really say I'm in the scene because I'm still fairly new to the city. But I think with time, maybe another 3 months or so, it should be good because there's a lot of events happening, which is quite good.
Okay, nice. And what are the places to have fun in Leipzig? Not music based, just to hang out.
I personally like the parks, you know, because you can also just relax, or the lakes. I've only been to 2 so far, but it's quite nice because it's also like a different atmosphere. And then perhaps going somewhere on the outskirts into these like forests or just places where you can walk, you know, because it's very therapeutic to be able to just be also in some quiet, you know, because in the cities it's always like boom boom. You're on the main street on Eisenbahn, it's cars, it's traffic, it's air pollution, so you can't really think straight because you have to be focused on, like, you know, what's happening around you. But I would say I really enjoy the parks personally, or just chilling by like a speti and having a kiosk beer, talking with your friends, making fun of each other, or conceptualizing ideas, because that's mostly what we do. We're always just there sitting thinking about what we can do, you know, which is nice. But it's always nice when you're at a nice place or a nice environment, so it's quite good.
Okay, nice. And how is the day in your life?
So I wake up and the first thing I do is I thank God for another day, just another chance, you know, because they always say that if God wakes you up, that means he's not done with you. So I thank God that I'm awake, and then put on some music, because that's a part of my life, you know. Put on some music or a podcast. I like listening to podcasts and some music. Then have a coffee and a cigarette and just not really meditate, but more like think about, okay, today I have to do this and that, and get ready, go to work, come back, probably do some music stuff, definitely, because I like to work on what are my dreams every day, you know, at least little bit, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Sometimes it's 5 hours, 6 hours, you know, because sometimes you have a creative spark and then you're lost, and then you just continue going. You don't even realize how time flies. Or just spend time with my loved ones also, you know, just have a nice time together, you know. Because I also feel as time goes on, if I think about it, it's like we don't really realize that time is going, or life is moving forward. You have to actually sit down and see, okay, because I think about it now, like I said, I've only been in Leipzig, 4 or 5 months, but it feels like yesterday that I moved from Cologne, but it's already been 5 months, you know, and I always try to look back and reflect to say, okay, in this 5-month time period, what have I done in Leipzig, or whoever I met, and how has my daily routine changed from what I was doing in Cologne.
Okay, you say that music is a part of the day. Do you produce your songs yourself?
Some I do, but most of the times I have friends, and I also just hit up producers or stuff like that. But it's really something that I thought that it's needed for me to produce my own songs, you know. But unfortunately, I do not play any instruments. My instrument is my mouth. But I do know that when I hear certain sounds and certain instruments, I would like to have them on a beat or a song, then I either send them to the producer or I do it myself, you know, just by doing like loops, because that's I feel like it also cuts down the process of having to produce the song fully. Chop up a few samples, put them in, and then I write, boom boom pow, and then it's done. It's done, yeah.
Tell me a bit about your song Faith, Love and Hope. That's 3 powerful words in one title. What do you want to say through this?
Well, it came from a point of like when you don't feel like you're good enough, you know, and you feel like around you also nothing is happening the way you want it to happen, you know. Most of the time people always feel that the answers are outside. I beg to differ. I would say the answers are within me, you know, but obviously I need to have these 3 elements. I need to have faith, because faith is the ability of believing in something that you cannot see or that's not tangible. I need to love myself firstly, and I need to love the people around me. So, and then obviously to hope, to be hopeful. People always look down and say, yeah, you're always hoping that, yeah. But if you are hoping in a positive way or trying to manifest what you want, you know, you'll be in a better space.
Even in my darkest times, I'll always lean to the light. To feel the warmth and grace of God is a blessing. I wake up every day, my only choice is to fight, to fend off demons and tyrants, those who want my place. They underestimate my long nights, sweat and tears, my sheer determination to triumph and be defiant. No more yes boss, yeah man, yeah, fuck being compliant. My nigga, I'm a giant like Giannis, let's be honest, you can't harness this. I feel invincible, huh?
And I just want to send out a shout out actually, because the guy who produced it, we still have not met, but a shout out to him. He knows who he is. If he ever sees this, he knows who he is, and I hope we're gonna do more music together, because it was his beat. He sent it to me, and then I sat with it for I think 3 weeks or something like that. And then when the guy's name is actually Cube, sorry, his name is Cube, so Cube sent it to me, and then I was sitting on it for like 3 weeks, didn't know, and then I thought, okay, the hook came to me, and then from there, everything just fell into place, you know. And the singer as well, Maren, she also helped me with that, so yeah, it's a really good song. It's a really good song. It's one of my favorites actually, Faith, Love and Hope.
Yes, it's a very good song. It might be my favorite also. The word hope has a certain importance, especially these days with all that is happening in the world. Will you say you have hope for the world, humanity, the future?
That's a very philosophical question right now, because there's so much going on. There's so much information to digest. You know, everybody needs attention. You know, the situation that's currently happening, and other situations also. I mean, I'm not going to pinpoint any specific one out because of my political stance with things, you know. So I'm just gonna say this, that I am hopeful that things can change, but obviously everything that can change and could change, it starts at home. So if we want things to change and if we hope for them to change, we have to be the change, you know. We have to also take into consideration that everybody needs to be taken care of, and not just a certain group or groups, you know. We can't say that, okay, we're going to help them while other people are also suffering, you know. But to answer your question in short, I would say I am hopeful that things can change, but also we are living in dark times, man. It's difficult. We're living in really dark times where even for myself, you know, just navigating through things, I'm just hoping to get through the day, you know. I'm hoping to get through the day. I'm hoping I don't have to go into an altercation or to go into an ambulance car or be told that, yeah, you have to come to the hospital, a loved one is hurt, you know, stuff like that. But then again, it's happening to someone right now as we speak, you know. There are people who are not fortunate enough, or there are people who are going through things, but man, it upsets me, because at the position that I am as well, there's not much that I can do, you know. I can talk about it, I can put awareness of it, but I wish that I could put my finger or cast a spell and for it all to go away, or to say like stop that, but then again it's very difficult. But one thing I will say is that let's be hopeful that the situations, they change, as far as that is concerned.
And what would you like to change if you have the power?
If I had the power to change things, well, I would firstly want to fight for the emancipation of Africans, and in a way that we are treated equally and fair. I feel like my people do not deserve the treatment that we do receive worldwide on a daily basis, and also people's perception of us, because at the same time those are the same people who culturally appropriate my culture and my background and the things where I am from. So I would appreciate if people were treated fairly, and I would actually change that first of all, and then I'd probably try to be like a real philanthropist and just have everybody living equal. But at the same time, it's also another deep question, because it's so difficult having everybody living equal, because at the same time someone will always try to be better or more richer or something like that. And the funny thing is that you could give everybody the same thing, but the other person who does not appreciate or give gratitude to what he has will still think that his neighbor has more, which is something that you can't really, it's in us also because of us being humans and our natural beings,
I noticed that you use the word love quite often. How do you define love?
Well, for me, I would say love is just the feeling or expression that you have for another person. I've also realized that love is not so much about a red heart emoji, It's more than that. It's also not sexual. I find it more just in the sense of caring for another person, and opening a door for an elder. That's, for me, that's love. Or telling someone to tie their shoelaces because they're going to trip, It's the small things that matter. It's not really about the term, because the term is widely used. Sometimes it's used wrongly, in my opinion. It's used wrongly, because I love you. You can say that to anybody. You can say that anytime. But it's something that you actually have to express and to be able to show it, So I feel like it's an expression of gratitude and caring for another human being. Not even a human being, animals as well, plants, things, I can basically say that. Maybe I'm going to be criticized for this, but I can say I love my laptop because of the way I treat it, I treat it with respect. I charge it when it has to be charged. Shit like that, so yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe I have to start loving my laptop, because I think I don't.
If you don't love it, because that's the funny thing, I kid you not, I had a laptop that I can say that I did not love it because of the way I was treating it. I used to leave it on the charger, the whole night, and then the battery swole out. But these are little things that you have to appreciate and also give gratitude to, because it can be taken away from you. And that also had a setback in me making my music, because I had to get a new laptop, and it took some time because I did not have the funds. But had I been more loving and caring and respecting my laptop, I would have taken good care of it, So that's also one of the things that we should actually look out for.
What is next for Lord Stef?
I would say just a lot of more music, a lot of experiments musically and creatively, also branching out to other markets, and by that I mean, just not focusing on Europe, also maybe try the United States, because that's also where hip-hop is also big, just sending out the music to a lot of people, releasing more, maybe try to perform at a few festivals, and stuff like that to get my brand or myself out there, and definitely also branch into to videography. Yeah, that is also something that's on the script. But take it everything one step at a time. Definitely, you can only, they say to whom much is given, much is required. So with that, you also have to take a break sometimes and just reflect how far you've come and persevere on. Yeah.
No album or EP on the program?
EP, definitely. If not the end of the year, then next year. I am working on it, on the EP, but right now I have a backlog of a bunch of singles that need to be put out first, and some are very good, some are okay, you know. So I want to choose them and also put them out in a certain way so that I can market them leading up to the EP, you know. And I don't want anybody to lose out and be like, oh, why didn't you not put this song in the EP? So I want actually to have a structure. And also being an independent artist, doing everything by yourself, getting your funds yourself, resources by yourself, you actually have to take it step by step, because if you put all your efforts into it, or in terms of efforts and resources, I mean money, you know, if you put all your money into it and it doesn't go to plan, you're gonna have a setback. So it's better that I plan it in little intervals, you know. So maybe this 3 months just recording, I pay for the studio, and then next 3 months pay just for the videos or whatever the case might be. So instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna take all of this and just record all the songs and then I have no money for the videos, so take it step by step.
Do you like performing in front of a crowd?
I really do. I really do enjoy performing, because that's where the audience can actually see your emotions, you know, where you actually spill it out to them on how the song came together, and then they can also see the energy that you have, you know, on stage. I personally do like performing, but what I want to do more of is doing it live band, you know, where there's people playing the instruments, because then there's more control, it's more natural, it's not just backing vocals, you know, stuff like that. So, but I would like to perform a lot more, but also I don't just want to perform for anybody, you know. I want to perform for people that appreciate the kind of music that I make. I want to sell my art and share it to actually real hip-hop connoisseurs, you know, people that will appreciate it, that if I buy a vinyl, it will become a family treasure, you know. It's going to go from generations to generations and not just be like, look at my dad's old vinyl from 2022, you know. I want it actually to be something that of value. So even if my presence in performing, it should be so good and great that people will anticipate the next one and say that I cannot miss that. But obviously I need to create that first by performing more and then getting the word out there. Yeah.
Okay, LordStef, it was a real pleasure having you here. What is your last word for today? What do you want to share with the audience out there?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say to any aspiring artist that do you know, do your thing. Believe in yourself first before you expect people to believe in you, you know. And to also say that if you want to do something, just do it, you know. There shouldn't be any limitation. And then obviously also thank you to the guys here at Bogolan Studios for inviting me or suggesting the initiative. It's a really good incentive, and I think that a lot of the African artists or people from the African diaspora here in Europe should try and make more connections and get together and how do you call it? We should mobilize ourselves to decolonize certain spaces, and we know which spaces we want to decolonize. So let's get together and do the work. And apart from that, check out my music. I go by the name of Lord Stef. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, Lord Stef. My latest single is out, Woman Like You. Run it out.
Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Hongo shimali wa Hongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa Kongo shimali wa